Thank you for your very kind introduction. She did a fantastic job. She's still working. Where I come from in Hawaii, some of you may be familiar that a common greeting that you will hear is aloha. Aloha, maybe a little similar. Yes, aloha.
Aloha.
It's a little similar to namaste. It is used oftentimes for people when they say hello or goodbye. But it's also often used in a very superficial way. Actually, there's a very deep meaning to the word aloha that's very special. When you greet someone with aloha, you're greeting them with deepest respect and an open heart. When you say aloha, you're saying that I offer you my respects and my heart is open. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches us that only one who has such aloha, such respect and an open heart can truly chant the holy names of God. Lord Chaitanya's prayer is one should chant the holy names of the Lord in a humble state of mind, feeling oneself to be lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy names of the Lord constantly. What we see in the world today, whether it be in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our country, in many different industries around the world, is that we lack true leaders who exhibit this spirit of aloha, of true respect, truly caring for those around them, and acting as a servant rather than a master. Whether it be in the realm of politics, in government, whether it be in business, in education, in healthcare, in entertainment, whether it be in our communities or in a very personal way, in our families. We need such self-realized, self-satisfied leaders. Unfortunately, as we turn on the news at night and we see the pain and the suffering around the world, we see this as a product of the fact that so many of our leaders do not have this aloha. They don't understand what it means to be a servant leader. They're not striving to live by these principles of aloha. The decisions that they make, the actions that they take, are only about themselves and their own selfish ambition. Whether it's their care for political power, for fame, for money, for status, or glory, this is their motivation. And we see as a result, the people and our environment suffer. As was mentioned in the introduction, I took my congressional oath of office on the Bhagavad Gita. And since then, many people asked me why I made that choice. Why did I choose to take this very important oath on the Bhagavad Gita? And my answer to them is actually very simple. Lord Krishna and his words, his teachings to all of us in the Bhagavad Gita are my life and my soul. His teachings of bhakti and karma yoga are truly the foundation and the motivation for my life. Actually, the Bhagavad Gita, for all of us, is the perfect textbook for anyone who wants to learn how to be a servant leader. The teachings that Lord Krishna has gifted to us through the Bhagavad Gita are as relevant to us today as they always have been and they always will be. Whether you're a small child, or you're a parent, a teacher, a student, a businessman or woman, an educator, a politician, every single one of us in our own lives has the opportunity to learn this greatest gift from Lord Krishna, to study this textbook on how we can apply these principles of servant leadership in our own lives. In my life, it was through the practice and the following of Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga taught in the Bhagavad Gita that I gradually realized my true identity, my spiritual essence, and my purpose in life. I came to realize and truly understand that my body, this body, is not actually who I am. It's temporary, not eternal, and it's like a garment. It's like a piece of clothing that you wear and then you leave behind. I came to understand my true identity as spirit soul, as Atma, only temporarily using this body. And I came to appreciate and understand and know in my heart of hearts that God is my best friend. I realize that throughout my life, I have only ever been truly happy when I've been using my life in God's service. I felt that one way that I could serve God and do my best to be pleasing to Him was by engaging in Karma Yoga, by working for the well-being of His children and the environment. So as a youngster, as a teenager, I grew up in Hawaii and I enjoyed the ocean. I went surfing all the time, I went hiking outdoors, and I became frustrated because I saw people throwing their trash on the ground. I saw people lacking in this care for our home, for our environment, for land and water. So I knew that I needed to do something about this. I co-founded an environmental nonprofit with my father called Helping Hawaii Coalition. And through this program, we developed and implemented a 2-day educational program that we took to schools all across the state of Hawaii, reaching out to thousands of children who were in elementary school, 8, 9, and 10 years old. And our program taught them the importance of protecting our land and our precious water, as well as the consequences of their daily actions. That when you throw your trash out the car window, it can end up in your drinking water. That the very seemingly small actions that we take every single day in our life have very real consequences. My motivation in doing this was I wanted to share with these young people, with these children, the importance and the very great responsibility that every single one of us has to take care of Mother Earth. I'll never forget the very happy feeling that I had in my heart when I was teaching these children and I saw the light bulb go off in their eyes. I saw the excitement in their eyes at learning something that they knew was important. They were eager, they were excited, and I knew that as this light bulb was going off, they would take these important lessons and they would carry them back home with them. They would tell their mother and their father, "Don't you know if you do this, something bad will happen?" They would tell their siblings, "Don't you know what happens when you leave your trash on the ground, when you don't care for our Mother Earth?" And as I saw this excitement in their eyes, I felt this deep happiness in my own heart. I felt this feeling of great reward that I had never experienced before in my life, just doing actions for myself, doing things that I thought might be fun for me or might make me happy. And having gone through that experience, I knew one thing, very clearly that I wanted to keep doing more. I wanted to keep doing more and more for other people. I felt that while this program was effective and very good, I needed to be in a position to have greater influence to continue to try to solve these problems and more. That's what motivated me to run for the Hawaii State House of Representatives when I was 21 years old, at a time when many people asked me, why aren't you out going to a party? I felt very resolute and very committed in my mission and why I was doing what I was doing. 9/11, where more than 3,000 Americans were killed in New York City. This horrific attack changed everything, not only for our country, but around the world. And like so many others from my home state of Hawaii and from across the country, I joined the military, enlisting in the Hawaii Army National Guard. I wanted to serve my country, and I wanted to join in the fight against these Islamic extremist terrorists who are responsible for this attack. I knew in my heart that this was the right thing to do, and that I needed, personally, I needed to take a stand, to do something, to fight against these people who, in the name of God, were engaging in these horrific terrorist activities. So less than a year later, in 2004, I was campaigning for re-election in Hawaii. It looked to be a very easy re-election. My opposition was very minimal, and I was feeling very content and peaceful. Hawaii is a beautiful place. I was with my family and with my friends. But then the brigade combat team in my military unit was called up for a deployment to Iraq. I found out that close to 3,000 of my brothers and sisters would soon be deploying to this far-off land, deep in conflict, but I wasn't among those who were called up. For whatever reason, I was being allowed to continue my life in my beautiful home without disruption. I was faced with a decision, one, between an easy re-election to my state house seat, and the other, volunteering to deploy with my brothers and sisters to Iraq. I knew in my heart there was no way that I could stay home in the safety of Hawaii, of my job and my family and my friends, and watch my brothers and sisters march off into combat and possible death while I stayed in Hawaii. I couldn't stay home and watch them say goodbye, knowing that that may be their last goodbye. I withdrew from my re-election campaign and volunteered to join them. Shortly after arriving there to the camp where we were based for most of the time, it was a camp about 40 miles north of Baghdad, a camp that was nicknamed Mortaritaville because of the constant mortar attacks on the camp. And in that camp, next to one of the main gates where the patrols went in and out every day and every night, there was a very big sign at the gate that read, "Is today the day?" In big black letters, "Is today the day?" This sign was a constant reminder to me and to all of us who were serving that that day could be the day that I leave my body. I served in a medical unit during that first deployment, and every single day I was faced with the death and destruction and the ugliest side of war. There were friends of mine who were killed in combat. There were others who I didn't know personally who never made it home. This